So we're here presenting the film High Tide, Maria Alta, by the director Veronica Chen. Thank you very much, Veronica, for being here with us. Thanks for taking the time. Hi.
Hi, thank you.
First of all, I have to tell you, I'm a really great admirer of your second film, Aqua. I had the possibility to watch it back then at the Hamburg Film Festival. And then later on, when it aired on Arte, I watched it again. And so from then on, I followed your films, and I watched, I think it was called Rabbit Woman was the English title.
Yes.
And there you already worked with the actress. We now know from from your new film High Tide, Claria Cara, I think, if the name is properly pronounced. So it seems you have a very intense bond of working together with her. Maybe you could talk a bit about your working relationship, the collaboration on High Tide this time.
Okay. Yes, I've worked 4 times with Gloria on these three films, and also a short that I did with her and her daughter for some time ago. High Tide was not written for her, but it was perfect for her. I wanted to give her a chance for a main lead, because she's such a great actress. And it was just happiness, in the film. She uses a lot of intuition, she has a lot of experience in TV. She's very well known in Argentina since she was a little girl actress. And we all sort of grew up with her, watching her. But she's not so well known in film. And this is the first time that she has the main, very big part for her in a film. Man, she was great.
Yeah, I think so. High Tide, she is not only very much focused on her character, but it's also a film very much focused on one location. We have this mansion on a property. There's a very nice establishing, the camera gliding from the sea towards this property and the house. At what point of your preparation of the project did you find this location? How important was it to find this specific place? Because it's so much concentrating and focusing on what's happening there. Actually, this building of the barbecue site on this property is kind of what propels the whole story.
We found the house, exactly that house, very close to the shooting date, like when we were searching for locations, but the area, the woods, those beaches, and the establishing shot. This was meant for me since I was writing it, because High Tide is one of 4 films. It's called The Coast Quartet. It's 4 films meant to be in the same place with shared characters. Gloria's character will be a secondary character in the next film, and so on, because it's about this group of people, maybe 40 people, like 40 families, who have their summer houses here on these beaches, 4 very close beaches. So I wrote the 4 films. It's one for each season, thinking of this location, which I know very well, and thinking of the woods that are implanted right next to the sea, and these houses. This was all recently built, let's say in the last 10 years. And in the last 5, it became very trendy. Before that, it was like a sort of a hippie area, and it became a little bit bourgeois. And this establishing shot, something like this will be the introduction of all 4 films, because it's the idea of the sea and the property, how they come together, the sense of ownership.
Yeah, ownership is obviously very important to the main character. I just, this year we're showing Homefront, the new film by Luca Belvaux, and I remember he had a similar project, with the trilogy Ornella Muti and so on, with different perspectives. I think it's always great to have such a project, but it must be kind of challenging for you, waiting shoot after shoot to complete the quartet, I guess.
Yeah, it's a challenge production wise, let's say. For the artistic, it's very nice because your mind is, like for 5 or 6 years, it's you're thinking like almost like a series, but in a more feature-like format. So you're always living with these characters, and also it's a place I love, so I like it. I enjoy it a lot. Production-wise, it's very complicated because it means you have to also have the actor sort of tied up, in some way, or else you have to change part of this. But the idea when I first wrote it, because these are small films, was to be able to shoot 2 and 2. I wanted to shoot 2 together, so they would share some of the footage. But this is very expensive, very, very difficult. It means a very long shooting. So we know we have to go one by one. But so far we're managing. I hope we can shoot the next one next year. It was intended to be this year, but okay, because of Corona, we passed it. But I hope we can still shoot next year.
Yeah. So let's hope for the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
This high tide, when we talk about the property, the mansion, and the character, the main character, and her morality. This is kind of I always felt it like a twist to a home invasion thriller. So it has this very uncanny feeling. It has lots, hints towards horror. And how did you compose this? And is this something that will recur in the other movies, or is this, do you have special layers for each of the movies? Is this just something, an influence you wanted in this story about this woman?
No, it is something. It's like unearthing something under the sand in all the films. There's always crime. There's crime that will go unpunished, let's say, and it's as if corpses were unearthing, all the time. Maybe it's something that we have like in an unconscious way, but there was a rumor that during our past dictatorship, there was something that happened that wasn't a rumor, that the people were thrown into the river, but it was alive, but it was a river near Buenos Aires, but it ends up in the sea. So it's as if, in a way, the sea were carrying, next to our shores, were carrying these people. And there was a rumor, yes, that Nazis had arrived to our coast as refugees, and there were some beaches where they could find a living under another identity. And this is more or less a rumor. In some cases, it was true. So it's like something in the unconscious that, there's maybe people hiding, and if you dig under the sand, you will find things. And what happens in the films, in the 4, is that they simply accumulate. It's like, okay, as you know, the end, I don't want to talk about the end, but as there's something hidden there, it might be in other houses as well. This was the idea a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you succeeded in having this film. It has a dimension of being a social portrait, but it has so many layers. I felt, it's at some moments I talked about horror, but there are moments of satire, and it's a social portrait. It's a portrait of this character, obviously a portrait of a special kind of social class, and I think all this is combined by a way of a very feministic perspective on these, kind of revenge stories we know. And I was asking myself, wondering, how was it difficult for you to balance all these layers, all these elements during the shooting or during the editing, and even having in mind, that this is one of 4 films?
Well, the cast helped me a lot. Gloria, but also the other 3 men, the 2 workers especially, because they helped to even go further in some cases. They proposed things, acting, and I took them. So honestly, yes, it was like dribbling all the time, but we had a lot of fun shooting it. I don't know if the humor is very if you can notice it, but for me, it has humor, dark humor, but so I enjoyed that. And nobody is totally white or black in the film. This was very important. They all have their sides. The main character is a woman, and I'm not sure. It's like when we screened it, I only screened it with audience once in Sundance, so it's very, normally when it goes to festivals, I sort of can talk with the people and I get to have more feedback. Right now, I don't have so much feedback. But I remember in Sundance, some people got very angry at her and they didn't like her at all. And other people thought she was a heroine. So I think neither, but this was a little bit the feedback I got. I know she's a complicated character, and yes, this was intended.
Yeah, and I feel this is a strength of the movie. This having this ambivalence. It's not pushing us towards one side or the other, or one perspective or the other. One take different perspectives, and I think this is it's great if a movie can do so. You just mentioned you premiered your film in Sundance. This was like, it feels like ages ago, a different era.
Yeah.
Amazing. And yeah, so this was your only physical screening, obviously, of the film. How was this experience, having your film finally out and then having festivals cancelled or hybrid versions? I think the film was invited to Sitges as well. Can you tell us a bit about your experience, this strange experience, having your film premiering in such a year?
Well, first of all, also because you mentioned it and Sitges, for me, I thought I was writing a normal drama film. I didn't think of a thriller or anything. I just didn't know. I don't know of the others either, but clearly it goes that way and people see this. So at Sitges, it won an award, pretty nice, which is the best Latin American film in the whole festival, the Blood Window Award. And for me, it's strange, still, because, for example, an influence I had was Haneke. I love Haneke and Funny Games a little bit. Yeah. And I don't think of the film as horror, for me it's just drama, but of course it can be. And so what happens with films, it is out of our control, as creators. And Sundance was so strange for me. I had gone there with my first film when Sundance was very small, and so was my first film. And suddenly when I arrived, it was much bigger this year. And we were also in the main competition, blah, blah. And honestly, I wasn't sure that High Tide could have like an international reception for for issues that I think have to do with our country, with women and the way men and women relate, which is a little bit more archaic than I think Europe or the US. But suddenly I saw that that the theme is very well received, and it hits like an audience everywhere. Everybody talked about the same things. And I thought, okay, it's not only us. And this was the first strange thing for me. I thought the way she is incapable of handling the relationship with the workers was something very much of our country and our setting. Mm-hmm. But no, I suddenly found a lot of sympathy about this everywhere. So I was surprised, and I still am, especially, for example, Germany. What I know of Germany is so much more evolved. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I find that it has an echo too.
Yeah, and I felt like there are we have some very strong films in our lineup, which are not only directed by women, but that have a very special female perspective. And this is what you said, and I think really one can see that it's not a kind of a national thing, but there's a change and in perspective, hopefully, and we have to discuss it globally. So yeah, it's great to have your film. Thank you very much for your time. Stay healthy these days. And yeah, we hope to see you at some point in Mannheim-Heidelberg.
I hope you enjoy the film and the rest of the films and have a very nice festival.
Thank you.